NXT just went off the air, and on a Tuesday, on Popular Review, go on the air right after it goes off the air. As I've said, there was a few matches that happened tonight. We had Hank and Tank in action. They went against OTM. We had the NXT Women's North American Championship on the line. Blake Monroe defending her championship against Thea Hell. Can't wait to talk about that with you guys. We had a fatal four-way for the number one contender for the NXT Championship. Dion Lennox, Joe Hendry, say his name and he appears. Myles Bourneand and Leon Slater. And you guys know this was a fave of mine. We had Fatal Influence going against Kendal Grey and Wren Sinclair, and so many other things to chat about here on NXT. Like, why, Ricky? Why? Why did you do what you did last week? But we're going to talk about it all here. This is Unpopular Review. We're not going to play the intro because it's outdated. We're no longer the NXT trio, but we're the NXT duo. We've been the duo for many, many years, so we're back to being a duo. And we hope Matt is doing well on the Islands of Friday. But I'm one of your hosts, the great Grand Slam Poobah, and I'm joined with the sensational Sabrina Estella, aka Wrestling Doll. Sabrina, tell the lovely people watching, how the heck are you?
I'm doing fine. NXT was good. I was watching some other wrestling while it was happening, so it was a little back and forth. So that's always fun.
Well, you're doing what they used to do back in the day. Well, they were kind of doing that on Wednesdays too, when NXT was on Wednesdays and AEW, and you balance both wrestling. So that's always fun. To always be you're going this way, that way. How was you making that work? One was on the TV, one was on the pad. How was this
Yes.
working?
Computer TV.
See, that makes it a little bit easier. I mean, there was times where I said times. So when NXT, I always gotta keep my eye on Mr. Cat because he's okay. When NXT and I almost said UPR and AEW was on and going back and forth, I could sit here and say I did not miss any of that because it's kind of hard to be doing all that. So kudos to people who were able to go back and forth and do all that stuff. But that's fantastic. So real quick, because you're gonna take the charge here. What did you think about tonight's NXT?
It was pretty good. It was a good way to kick off 2 weeks before the great celebration of holidays happen, and then we jump into 2026 with New Year's Evil. So I enjoyed the show. There were some good spots, some good moments, some unexpected things happening, but they
Mm-hmm.
happened.
Well, why don't we get into it real quick? Let's get into this chat. We got George. What's going on, George? I feel like things are right again because George is number one in the chat. He always kicks off the chat. So, George, what's going on, sir? He said, and we will talk about that. I didn't think Thea was going to win. I don't think anybody really thought she was going to win. We'll chat about that. Hey, guys, happy holidays. Jeffrey, it's always a pleasure to see your handsome face. Happy holidays to you and the fam. We got, hey guys, what's up? We got former NXT member, Matt Mad Dog Kelly. What is going on, the dog of madness? We got good Chris in the chat. Hi, beautiful Sabrina Stella and handsome the great grand. Oh, stop it. We're not even 5 minutes into the show. You're making me blush. And Mad Dog seemed like he was down for the Thea winning. He says, hell yes. I said, hell no. And everyone knows how I feel about one Thea hell. But we will get there. Sabrina Stella, before I start going off, I'm not really going to go into a tantrum here tonight, guys. I have me a bottle of water. I'm going to be calm. I promise you, you're going to have a calm episode from the Great Grand Slam Pool. But Sabrina Stella, let's talk about this match. Oh, I'm sorry, but said, I mean, this was missed here. Do you want to take the floor here?
I love how Seth is doing my job and giving Matthew nicknames, even though he's not a part of our programming anymore, which that is still always going to be my thing. So
As it should be.
Vinny cannot do that to Matt. So,
I
but
will tell him, Mr. Cat, you said what's up. But please take the floor.
we had some recaps of Saturday night main event and the main event from last week, as well as Javon Evans in the parking lot. And Ava's trying to get him to calm down and get inside, but he just wants to lay the smackdown on Ricky.
As he should. I mean, he was robbed. I mean, we didn't get to do a show last week. We took a break off, but
We had a
how?
sabbatical, if you will.
It's sabbatical, absolutely great word. Uh, Ricky Saints turn heel. How are you feeling about that?
Well, I mean, he was a heel for a good while over in AEW, so it was only a matter of time before we're going to get that over here.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I thought we'd get it a little bit later, but so when he
I
did it on
mean, in comparison to one Miss Mariah May Monroe, his took a little bit longer to happen. So,
it did. That's fair. And you know what? I think Ricky will kill it as a heel. He just seems like a natural as a heel.
well, I mean,
Um,
he did hold the FTW championship over there for a while. So,
I forgot about that belt. Like that belt. There we go. But what else do we got here? Going on here on NXT.
we started with Mariah May Monroe versus Thea Hale for the NXT Women's North American Championship. And you start out, you get Mariah Monroe in control. She's doing some grappling, doing a couple drop kicks, putting the boots into Thea in the corner. They do some whips here and there. She tries to cover her, doesn't work. And they just keep going with the back and forth. And as it happens, we do get to see a little bit of Joe Hendry doing push ups in the back, talking about how he's prepping for his match later tonight. And we get a World's Strongest Slam, a somersault senton, a springboard senton, and a cover. Did she do it? Did she win? Is what we were wondering. We were a little confused for a second. Mike Rome says, "You're a winner," and new NXT Women's North American Champion, Thea Hale. And we were not since JC Jane becoming the NXT Women's Champion did we get bamboozled. Not since Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxton becoming the number one contenders for the women's tag team belts were we bamboozled. But they showed us what happened. Thea Hale pinned her for the 1-2-3. Mariah May Monroe kicked out after the 3 count. So she cannot say that she lost unfairly when you kicked out far too late.
I don't think anyone's going to be talking about the match. The match was there. It's the moment, right? And I was just blown away. I said, "Whoa!" And I was trying to figure out if was that the spot or did someone mess up? I didn't know what to do. Ooh,
He's here, Mr. Kids. It's a you little baby.
that was so nice. There, see, let me tell you something. You knocked this down one time. You ain't doing it again, kid. Don't you dare. I know you don't love me. No, get out of here. No.
He does. He loves you in his own way.
Well, listen. He does, because anytime we go to sleep, I wake up. I said, "Dude, is that you?" He. I don't know where that gas. It's tremendous gas, and he just farts right next to me. I don't know why he likes to fart next to me. I just think it's rude. I don't think you should ever fart next to anyone. I'm sorry that I exposed your business, son. I love you. But the moment, yeah, no, it was a moment, and I was trying to figure out everything here. Even the part where, so the music person, they played Mariah's music, because I was like, was she supposed to kick out? I don't know what happened here. I don't know if this was exactly what it needed to be, but it seemed like they covered up for it very well by continuing to have Thea Hale hold the Women's North American Championship. And I don't know. I don't even see this as a long run, but it did shock me. It shocked the hell out of me. So, and maybe that's what they were trying to go for. Maybe it was just going for that shock factor, because sometimes NXT does things like that where I feel like a lot of times we feel like we know a direction that they're going in, and then they do something and you go, "Oh, I didn't see it that way. That threw me off for a loop." So yeah, I guess you could say Blake Monroe wasn't having a hell of a time. Ha 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 ha. I'm proud of
No,
that
she
joke.
did not have a hail of a time. She did not have a glamorous time either, because the spotlight has now been dimmed on her championship reign.
I see exactly what's happening here. You tried to enhance the joke, and you've tried to steal my ha-has. And that's strike one for you, Sabrina
I am
Estella.
not trying to steal any jokes, okay?
Now that was damn good. The
It was
glamour.
it had to be said. I mean, I did not think that she was going to win the title, given the fact that it's been like about a month and a half since Mariah May
Well,
Monroe won the belt.
someone mentioned online, I'm sorry, what's her name? Tatum and Mariah, they both have or Blake, I'm sorry. They've had only two title defense and they dropped the title. So that's something where I don't know. I just didn't expect it, but I'm interested in seeing where this goes. I say it all the time. NXT is one of my favorite shows of the week when it comes to wrestling. So I look forward to seeing where this all go. But I'm glad Jeffrey pointed this out because Booker T is just such a funny dude. He said, Booker T, what the hell? What the hell? Booker T cracks me up because he said, get the ref. I'm like, the ref is the one who made the call, dude. Like,
He
Booker
said
T.
to fire the ref.
Oh, he said fire the ref. It's funny too because you know, one of the things I put as a like a little note here for the show, um, Booker T says something in the beginning, and I think it's so hilarious. He points out like NXT won on Saturday. I said I don't think it was really NXT that won on Saturday. I don't think that's what that show was about. But sure, Booker T, I understand. Anything Booker T says, I'm for. I rock with it. I'm never going to question the man. So let's go. We got George who says hell yeah. So it seemed like you're a fan of the move. How Thea won the title before Jordan Grace? Ain't that
Because
something?
Jordan was trying to go for the NXT Women's Championship. She was trying to go for the main belt, not a mid-card title.
I bother everyone. One good Chris in the chat. I harass everybody. That's just kind of my thing. I just bother people. I might bother you later. Give me another 5 minutes. We got Blake Monroe gets a rematch, and I can see Jordan Grace getting involved as well. I think you're onto something. He said these young refs needs to be these young refs. Well, if we're bringing back any refs, I saw a video on my Instagram, and it was a match between RVD and Tess. And if you guys remember Earl Hebner did not play. So there's a thing where I think Tess was trying to hold the ropes. And anyway, Earl Hebner kicked it. We need more refs kicking people and standing up for themselves. So I'm totally with it. Oh, he got me started. Wait till JC James is on commentary. Booker T was, I mean, look, I'm just going to throw it out here. JC Jane, the women's champion. She's commentating. What can't this woman do? I can't wait to talk about her fantastic commentary. She made Vic Joseph look like a complete rookie. Matter of fact, Vic Joseph, he should have just took a break for that segment because how can he top the fantastic JC Jane? But what is the next thing that we have here on this tonight on NXT?
Well, we have the culling backstage talking about what they're going to do next and figuring out the next steps when they spot one of Tatum's dolls sitting on the chair. The dolls of Nico Vance. And Nico's a little spooked. Sean is somewhat spooked, but not as obvious. And Izzy's like, I solved the problem. I took care of Tatum. I corrected my mistake, and now we can move on. Tatum's not going to let you move on, sweet. She's going to go after them one by one until they're gone. And you never mess with crazy.
No.
They
No,
say hell hath
absolutely.
no fury like a woman scorned. Hell hath no fury like a crazy woman scorned. And you scorched the hell out of Tatum, Miss Dane.
I gotta say, I was very impressed because Nico talked. For the longest time, I says, "What does he do?" And
He
like
just stands there,
he just
looking menacing.
menacingly. But there's a spot where it makes me laugh. He said, "Hey, who did this?" I said, this guy's awareness is poor. What do you mean? Whose is this? Nico. I liked when Nico did not talk because when he asked, I said, "You got to be kidding me." This is he? Maybe he's a comedian and I don't know it. Maybe he's a stand-up and I just didn't realize that he made the ha-ha of the century.
So he's like Nick Nemeth, who's also a comedian besides wrestling.
You know what? You might be onto something, but he doesn't have the platinum blonde hair like one Nick Nemeth and whatnot. And Nick Nemeth just don't stand there. What was I going to get out here? This Tatum thing is interesting because like last week she had this vignette, right? And she was talking about she's going to get her revenge on the Cullen and for being betrayed. And I said, she's just going to turn them into dolls, rip their heads off and stuff. I was kind of hoping that we would get that, but I think that's more Lucha Underground and I can't think of another
Jeez, the way
wrestling.
you said that, my mind immediately went back to Pokemon.
Pokemon. I was going to do a poll on my Instagram. I might save it for later, but like, what would you rather be, a Digimon or a Pokemon? Which one of these two things would you
I
rather
mean,
be?
honestly, I'd rather be a Digimon. Here's why. Here's why.
I'm all ears.
For one, Digimon can transform whenever they please. They're not
That's true.
stuck in one certain form. They can
That's right.
talk, so they can communicate properly, and they can do whatever attacks they want whenever they please.
This is true. I think Digimon would totally knock it. Well, George is in agreement with that. Yeah, I remember one of the Digimons. I stopped watching, but I remember you said the humans could be Digimons. I thought that
Yeah,
was a
that
cool
was the fourth
feature.
season they did of it.
I thought that was a cool feature. But yeah, I
And
think I
it's
can see
my
why.
favorite, and too many people hate on it for no reason.
Don't you love that when people hate on something, but then you're like, I don't see what the hate is, and I enjoy this, and I think that's what everyone should do, is enjoy what makes you happy. I know the guys talked about Saturday Night Main Event, but a lot of people were upset about Gunther. They said this was
Gee,
the
I
wrong
wonder why
thing.
they were upset about Gunther.
I
Maybe because
know.
he made the one person who said never give up in the ring, and the promo he did on Monday, basically saying one or two sentences before everybody started booing the hell out of him, barely even letting him talk, and he just went
Oh,
back and forth to just rub more salt on the wound.
I love that. I honestly think, and we'll get back to NXT and get back to you guys in the chat. I saw that video and I sat here and said, Gunther was built for this. Gunther was somebody who I don't know who you guys would have had beat Cena, but I don't think anyone was taking them moves like Gunther. Gunther ate that up. Matter of fact, you know what made me laugh was when he looked at AJ. I did a video. We did a record. We went live after Saturday main event on Big Pop, and we talked about it. And I said Gunther should retire everyone. I'm sitting there, and this doesn't stop at wrestling. If Ali at Wendy's want to retire, Gunther should just be there, power bomb her, pin her. If you work at, I don't know, name me a place. You work at a car shop and you've been there for 30 years. Yeah, I've been here for so many years. I'm ready to retire. Gunther should retire you. My point is Gunther should just retire you. But when AJ stood face to face with him and he got in the car, and I thought it was so hilarious. He gets in the car, he says, "Oh, AJ, guy." And then he drives. He's like such a Family Guy character. So I just wanted to give Gunther his flowers. I think it's great. But let's get to the chat real quick. Jeffrey says, "I don't mess with voodoo dolls, as you shouldn't. Now I'm good with it." Digimon. We got George. George says Digimon. What's going on? Maurice was shaking. He says Digimon was my favorite cartoon show. He also points out season one of Digimon was my favorite. I was pretty much the only one. I watched a little bit of season two, and I remember the new ones. I think one was like a lizard, and I think he was supposed to take the lead from Agumon. And I said, absolutely not. Too soon to talk about Cena's retirement. It's not soon enough. I mean, it was great. It was what it needed to be. You know, Gunther's going to be, listen, and next year he's probably retiring age. I mean, I would have him retire AJ. Like I said, if you say retirement, he should be right there to do it. But what do we have going next on NXT, madam?
So all ego Ethan Page makes his way into the ring, gets on the mic, and complains about not being the focus over the past week. No one seems to care that his back was almost broken, and why. Not why you don't care, but why he was attacked. Jealousy because he's the foundation of NXT, because he's taken the North American Championship and left every other reign before him in the dust. Zero provocation, rhyme, nor reason, but he doesn't care. He just wants answers. So for Tony D to get his ass out there. Instead, we get the power couple of NXT, Channing Stacks Lorenzo and Ariana Grace. I mean, they're technically the only couple down there where both partners are still nearby. Everybody else's partner that anybody that does have a partner that is in NXT happens to be on the main roster. So that's the only reason why y'all can call yourself the power couple of NXT. Stacks talks about Ariana's expensive taste and how she wants more gold for Christmas while they look at Ethan's Triple A mixed tag team championships. And Ethan did mention, look at this. This is the lack of decorum I'm talking about and interrupting me. And they mentioned how the belts will look great on the most snatched waists of the power couple. And then we get Moose,
Moose.
who confronts Stacks for the TNA International Championship. He says the boys at TNA are pissed NXT talent is holding yet another TNA championship, and he's here to do something about it. Ethan Page smiles, walks to the ropes right as Moose says it's Channing's lucky day because he's here and laser focused on Ethan Page. He stops, turns around, and Moose says he's here to take one of NXT's most prestigious titles back to TNA. Ethan says, y'all have to talk to Ava. There's channels here. But Moose said, I already talked to Ava and Santino. December 30th, New Year's Eve, you'll have to defend your North American Championship against me. And he punches him out of the ring for a little bit.
It's good to see Moose. I wasn't really big on Moose, but I thought his match that he had with Ober this year kind of made me open my eyes with him a little bit. And the match he had with Leon Slater, I was there for Slammiversary, so I kind of like Moose is pretty cool. Moose is pretty cool. Um, he said something here. He said that NXT has another TNA championship. I mean, honestly, NXT has rated TNA with those belts. Like they had the World Championship, they had the Knockouts title twice. Um, they didn't get the X Division, right? What's this other title? I forget. It's this blue belt. What is that? Digital or something like that? I'm sorry, I'm not.
The digital social, well, that's the international title.
Oh, the one that Stacks came out with, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's too loud for me. It looked like
It's louder than the Peppermint Patty title that Ethan Page is currently holding.
I was in hell looking at that.
Listen,
What did
if you
Michael say? I
modified
was in
Ethan's belt, it
hell.
would look like the United States flag.
Listen, listen, that belt.
Literally, put them next to each other.
No, no, I did. It just made me go like, ah. No, because the belt is
Exactly.
like, why is it? What are we doing? Like, there's certain colors that kind of work for a championship. Like, I like the white strap. I think the white strap is good. Obviously, the black.
It's classic.
Yeah, but the blue, I just felt like a 5-year-old just
Didn't this
color.
weren't the SmackDown titles like blue once upon a time ago?
Oh, you mean the Universal
No, I
or the
mean the
tag?
SmackDown championships.
No, they had blue in the like in the gold. They had a little bit
No,
of
I'm
the gold.
talking about the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
What, like right now? I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
before they changed it.
Oh yeah. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't even that bad. It was like a dark blue. This is like
That's my
light
point.
blue. This is
That's a
like
blue that worked.
yeah. That's okay. I get what you're saying there. But this blue is just it's a bit much for me. Like I think if I won that championships, or that championship, I'm sorry, I would definitely say we got to tone this blue down. This blue, look, I'm sorry, I'm going to just show you Sonic. I don't know what the rest of his head is like. This is too much. It would have to be a darker blue. I don't know why he's so bright. Got to fix that, Mr. Cat. Put that down for something that needs to be fixed. I forgot he can't write. He's a cat.
Anyways, after that, we had a Leon Slater trying to talk some sense into Devon because he wants him at ringside for his match tonight, and Ricky might not even come. Devon
Oh,
insists that you don't understand how close I was to winning that title, and Leon asks him if you got me or what, and Devon says okay, and shakes his hand, and they go back inside real quickly.
you know, can I just sit here and say about Leon Slater? What a run that this young man is having. Like seriously, he was at Saturday Night Main Event with Javon. They gave him a few minutes, and he was in the ring with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, and good for him. And now he's on NXT. And not for nothing, I was talking to the executive consultant today, and I said, not for nothing, Leon Slater is on his way out. Like NXT seemed to have him a lot more than TNA, and I think that's cool for him. I think that's really, really good for him. I mean, like, I see him. I don't know what his contract status look like, so I don't know. But I would sit here and say I think he's one of the next guys from TNA to be called up, however you want to word it, but leave TNA for NXT. I totally 100% believe that. Real quick, let's just get into Some of these chats here. The New Year's award show. Yes, that's 2 weeks for now. I actually voted. I only voted for three things. For the male, I voted for Oba Femi. Women, I don't even have to reveal who I voted for. You guys know. And it was match of the year, and I took a I voted for JC against Lola Vice. Yes. So yes, go vote uh, for those award things. It should be interesting to see, and we'll talk about it in 2 weeks. The pennies. Jack would have hated the Ultimate Warrior. I just like the Ultimate Warrior. Period. He's always having bright colored belts. I couldn't watch. I remember I was watching some video with the Ultimate Warrior, and I was trying to understand this dude's promo. I never got it. He said the blood red moon, and then he was talking about Hulk Hogan. I had you in a rocket ship. Start it down. I couldn't get with the Ultimate Warrior. All I know he yelled a lot and he seemed like a madman. I don't know who I would fear more crashing into my house, him or the Kool-Aid Man. Maybe a combination of both. Maybe we can make that a thing. What we can have them. We can see who would you be fear of ruining your house. I think it's the Kool-Aid Man. But good for Leon. He's getting time. I like that for him, and we'll talk about him a little bit later. What else do we have here?
So we had a tag match with Hank and Tank versus OTM. And as Booker had said, this was the best that we had seen of OTM as far as like in the ring and wrestling wise. And I'd have to agree because before, I normally did not care about them that much in the ring. This was my favorite match of theirs yet. And Hank and Tank continued to improve and show everyone that even though we might be goofy, silly guys, we can get as serious in the ring as we like to be funny outside of the ring. This was one of my matches of the night, I will say, with how crazy it was to where those two boys nearly put Tank through the table, but he kicked his way out of it, got back on the apron, and dove on both of them. Like, this match was crazy. But when the pin gets broken up for a double team, it was an inside cradle on both these men. And Hank and Tank win, and OTM looked like they're ready to go beat them down again. This time with the reason, because last time it was no reason.
I'm glad that Jeffrey mentioned this because I did notice that too. I actually thought it was a part of their entrance. He mentions that why was the OTM entrance? I thought my screen was messed up because why was it shaking? Yeah, I noticed that, but I at first I said, are they getting that kind of reaction where the building is shaking? I didn't know what was going on there, so I'm glad that you pointed that out. I'm with you. This was a really, really good match. I feel like in the middle and towards the final stretch of the match, it really picked up a little bit. Tank, he did this swanton bomb, which I thought looked actually pretty good. Booker T cracks me up, dog. Like he is a funny, funny man without trying. But the spot where they were going for like that crucifix move, I think it was on Tank, and you see Booker T in the background because Vic is like, no, no, and here's Booker T. Yes, yes. Booker T wants destruction, and I love that for Unc. But we didn't get that, so he didn't get his wish, and I think that's very unfortunate. I thought the ending was creative. I did think it was creative how he got bumped into the cradle. However, I did not like the outcome. Hank and Tank. This was one of their better matches. One of the matches where I could sit here and go like, man, this was a really, really good Hank and Tank match. But I really like OTM. I think OTM should have some momentum. I'm thinking about with this year coming to an end, and you think about who could be some players for 2026. I think OTM should be that. I like them. I think they have a certain presence to them, and I ain't like that loss, but I don't think it's one of those things because I'm not going to be like one of those wrestling fans that go, "Hey, they got buried." No, they took a loss. I didn't think they should have took a loss here, personally. But good stuff.
Well, I didn't expect it either, but it happened. Just like we didn't expect seeing that SUV roll up at some point, and Vic is asking Booker, you know whose car that is, right? Like, you know whose car that is. And he's like, Booker was like, it was this kind of SUV. I don't know who drives a damn car like that. And we get to see that it is Ricky getting out of that with half a dozen security guards who, as you say, are not going to do their job.
They're not. I mean,
But
look. I mean, what? Real quick, Sabrina, Estella, you saw this whole thing. I know you're gonna break down everything before we get to that. They literally didn't do anything.
I mean, if you get paid to just be there and look like you're going to do something for a little bit, I wouldn't mind that. And I don't even have
I
enough money to
listen.
hold nobody back.
I'm envious of all of this. Like I sat here and said, like, dude, I would love to have my own security. Like there was 6 of them, sure, but like that's enough to kind of protect you. You know, all angles, all perimeters, and all that stuff. So I think that's fantastic. But I don't know. I just think it's always funny when you see a car and then they're like, "Who is that?" And it's like, I don't know. I've been watching wrestling for so long, so like I remember like when SmackDown what happened. Who's that? And be like, "Oh my God, it's Vince McMahon!" Like, yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry. It's one of those Dora the Explorer moments. Like, where's what was that thing called? Sniper? Was his name Sniper?
Swiper.
Where's Swiper? Look in the back, Dora. I never understood Dora's lack of look. Like, I think she was alert. Did that not bother anybody that she did not look in the back? Like never once did she look in the
No,
back.
the point of that was for it to be interactive. That's what those shows were like as a kid. I grew up watching it.
I'm not gonna lie, that was the first time I had a fireball in my hand, and I was only like, oh God, why was I watching Dora at 18? That's terrible.
Maybe there was nothing else on TV.
I used to love Nick. Do you remember Nick Jr. when there was someone called Face?
Yes.
Oh my God, you can actually. Good job, Sabrina. Because at the time you have age.
I grew up watching Nick and Nick Jr. when there was nothing else on TV as well.
Oh yeah.
Cartoon Network, Noggin.
I remember Noggin.
Nickelodeon Gas, which is where they had all the like sportier competitive reality shows.
Do you remember Guts? Do you remember Guts?
Yes. I wanted to be on that show at one point, but I wasn't athletic enough to do it. Just like I wanted to be on Legends of the Hidden Temple, but I was not athletic enough for that either.
I feel like they wanted to kill the kids because, like, why was I climbing this big mountain? Like, it was ridiculous.
It was like the Olympics for kids, if you will.
But Guts,
even to the point where they had it like an international one where kids from all over could come, and it wasn't just like kids from America.
Okay, no, I don't remember that one. Okay, cool. It must have been really cool to live around there at that time because this was all at that Nickelodeon studio thing. Because that's what Legend of the Hidden Temple. What was that called? What Would You Do? I think that's what it was called. There was some fun things that back in the day. Like the '90s had some really, really fun shows. They should bring them back for adults, but like.
Well, I mean, there is someplace somewhere that did make a Chuck E. Cheese for adults, so, and it has alcohol.
That's my place to go. I will be. Figure it out. Yes, I liked that show.
I've found videos of full episodes on here in Daily Motion.
That is so cool. My boy Danny Tamborelli, I think his name. He would always get slimed. I remember watching that. I remember one time they had Cat Dog in there. I just don't know how they
did.
You remember that, right?
Yeah, it was the only time they had a cartoon character on the show.
That is true. Listen,
they also had Cousin Skeeter on there.
I hated Cousin Skeeter. I wanted to kick him in the dick. I did not like Cousin Skeeter at all. I hated him.
Well, it was the only time they had a puppet on the show.
And you know what? I'm glad that was for the best. I'm sorry. I'm getting too riled up here now. You know how I get when I talk about these characters I don't like. But yes, Figure It Out was a fun show. I'm glad that George remembered that. And I love going down memory lane with you guys anyway. That's why we always bring up some of these things here. Before you go any further, Jeffrey wanted to point out one of the security guard was a dude from the LFG season 1. That's cool. That's always a good way.
Hey, Hank started out as a security guard. Look at him now.
He really did. Yeah, I'm laughing because like he didn't get paid enough to be a security guard, so he was a wrestler at the same time. Like I just love that for him. He'd be like, "All right, guys, I gotta go get in the ring now." I'm like, "Aren't you security, Hank?" I love that for him. His origin story is hilarious. OTM versus Dark State. I don't see that being a thing because they're both.
No, it's not going to be a thing. They're both heel teams, so it's not going to happen.
He grew up in it, and I agree with you.
And if you do, who do you root for? Well, honestly, I'd root for OTM because I don't like Dark State.
Bill Goldberg had his own security. Yeah, but it was a little different.
Bill Goldberg got retired, so we're safe.
See, That's why Gunther is the number one babyface of the year 2025. Yeah, I would even go
Okay.
any further. 2026, the greatest
Anyway,
babyface.
speaking of baby faces, we have Jasper Troy meeting Ava Rain. She's
He's a
telling him,
babyface?
no, that's why I
Oh,
said that. It was ironic.
oh, okay.
She tells him next week is the beginning of a new WWE Speed Men's Tournament, and it's going to be very exciting. And Jasper says it is bad news for whoever wins because if you step in the ring with me, destruction is guaranteed.
Why does it have to be a tournament, though?
Because it's always going to be a tournament to determine who's going to be his new the number one contender. To go in and try to beat him in 5 minutes or less when it's really try not to get squashed by Jasper Troy in 5 minutes or less, which will obviously inevitably fail.
All right. I guess that's the thing with the speed. I mean, the speed stuff is not for me, but
Nope.
I just didn't understand why because I feel like this is not even the first tournament. Like I feel like even for the women, but I accepted that because, um, Soul was hurt, so I said, oh, okay, I get that. But it seemed all right, that's fine.
Well, it's just to
But
find who will be his number one contender because he's not feuding with nobody. Because now that he has a belt, he doesn't have to just sit in catering and do nothing.
fair enough. What else we got?
So we get Ricky, absolute Ricky Saints, making his entrance and getting on the mic. He says, first things first. Actually, what we were all thinking, and you missed on this in the beginning,
Mhm.
Ricky, you got some splaining to do.
That was a good reference. Yeah. Good job.
But Ricky says, first things first, I am not here to apologize. I told everyone I am bringing in the absolute era. I came to NXT to prove to the world that I am the guy that can carry any brand and he doesn't have any more options. To get forward, I needed to be obsessed with being number one, and everyone's been searching for the man to beat Oba Femi, and that man was him. He says Javon tried to jump ahead, which no, he didn't because he won fair and square at Iron Survivor, and that's why he had to check him to remind him that he is not the man until Ricky says so. His entire career, he's played it safe, been passed over, and stepped on. Not anymore. He's going to get what he wants when he wants it, and if he has to stab you in the back or the front, then so be it. He's upset that he was willing to wait for this, but Javon wasn't willing to wait for this. And does Javon think he's better than him? How many titles has he won? When they wrestle, he's going to prove that Javon isn't in the same class as him, and he's done with the popularity contest when you got your real main eventer right here. Nobody more suave or debonair than him. He's the right guy right here, right now, and nobody's willing to do what it takes to get to the top or go to the lanes to keep himself there. That he won't. And Javon comes out of nowhere and blindsides him. Security tries to break them up. They fail. They brawl on the floor. Ricky throws Javon into the steel steps, clears the announce desk that Vic and Booker thought they were safe for like 3 matches, Rochambeau through the desk.
I agree with Jeffrey where he said this was the best Ricky Saint promo. Ricky, he didn't let that crowd shake him. I thought he had it. He had great mic control. Um, and when he attacked Javon, and I like that kind of reaction where you attacked one beloved figure of whatever brand it is, and that heat, and he got some heat. It wasn't like people were just sitting on their hands and stuff. There was one chant that they were saying like "Ricky the door, Ricky the door." I thought that was fantastic. It was some good stuff, and I look forward to seeing where this feud goes for Javon and Ricky. I see Ricky doing the jobs for one Javon Evans because I just see in 2026. I didn't see it so much, but now it's kind of starting to look a little clear to me that Javon is going to be the guy carrying NXT for a bit, or he's going to be the next guy to carry. So I thought this was some good stuff. That was really really good stuff. And I'll sit here and say this now. I am going to get some leather pants because I saw Ricky wear them. So one of the review shows, I'm just going to be standing up in leather pants. You might have to call me Jack Leather, or we'll figure out a name. I'm going to own a pair of leather pants now. And I just wanted to tell all you guys because I have tremendous fashion sense. You can't see it, but I'm wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt, and I think it is good for me. Maurice, he comments in here, the Sonic fan doesn't like the speed title. No, I don't. I think you try to make the funny. I see the comparison here, but Sonic is not the speed champion. So please, this was the best sticky, sticky Ricky. This is the best Ricky Saint promo. I don't know why you're yelling, Jeffrey. There's no need for yelling. This is a non-yelling zone. That Ranchambeau on the announce table was so devastating. Javon just lost one of his jaw. He did, but he lost it before he went out in the ring. Because I did peep that. So good eye. This is the Ricky Saint we need. Yeah, a heel Ricky Saint is going to do wonders for NXT. I agree. Love that chant too. that was the Rock like he was wearing. Rock would be, he does have similar fashion like the Rock. You can kind of see it. Jack Leather. We're gonna make that a thing. Jack Leather. I'm just gonna have leather pants. All you're gonna hear is the whole time me playing with my pants. You're gonna hear that sound. But what else do we have? One Sabrina Estella.
So we have Ava Rain meeting with Zaruka when all ego Ethan Page barges into her office to be mad at everything that's happened to him lately, including a moose on the loose. Chelsea Green comes in and stumbles and upset at everything that has happened to her. And Ava says, now listen, I'm going to hold your hand when I tell you this. I was like, no, wait a minute, don't. And Chelsea's like, it's okay. She holds her hand and says, everything that's happened to you is not my fault. And Chelsea's like, excuse me, what do you mean it's not your fault? And was making comments here and there about some of the stuff that had happened and how Chelsea basically called herself the greatest North American champion as well. She says, you're going to defend your belt next week against Soul. And Chelsea's not happy about that.
Where do I start with all this? How is Ava allowed to do this? She's not. Does Chelsea works for NXT? Awful Ava
No.
strikes again. I've had enough. I need Jeffrey. I need you to remind me before the show is up. I need to go on Yelp and give a bad review on Awful Ava and her awfulness of her GM because I just think it's very unfair how she's been treating Chelsea. Now, look, I know Chelsea is a bit, but we're all a bit. You know what else is a bit? When you have 3 glazed donuts, that is a bit. You don't want to have that much. But my point is, we do it anyway because glazed donut is the best donut. And I just wanted to talk about that. What else do we got here?
So we have your favorite moment of the night, which is Fatal Influence versus Ren QCC with JC Jane on commentary. Because with the way the show is going, I saw no Fatal Influence. I was like, are we going to have a Mad Jack not see his favorites in the show tonight? But once I saw them walking backstage, I'm like, now he's going to be happy.
I'm so happy.
But I did enjoy this match. Fatal Influence were jumping on Kendal right at the gate, which congrats to Kendal Grey for being the biggest underdog and proving everybody wrong at the Iron Survivor Series and winning the match, which we didn't have her to win, but points to her. But this was a solid match all around, and of course, the champion does come in to run interference at some point and yells at Ren, and Fallon blasts her with the Tiger Fiend kick. And it just kept going with the back and forth, and Fallon was submitted by Kendal with a cross armbar, where she unfortunately had to tap out. But nobody can say that Lainey Reid cannot work well with Fallon because they worked formidable as a team, as did Ren and Kendall.
I really thought this match, all the girls in that ring, they had their working boots on, and Fallon Henley is great. But I've been paying attention to Lainey Reid because you just still wanted to see how she blends in with these girls, and I just think she's been knocking it out the park every time she's been out there. I love this one move that they were doing at the time when Jasmine was still there. It's like a flipping bulldog move, which looks really impressive when you see it. I really just thought that I thought all the girls were out there. Kendal Gray's fantastic. I really do think that she's great, and the way that she would like bust out that armbar. I mean, she is the real deal. But I don't want to talk about any of that. I want to talk about how great one JC Jane was on commentary, women's champion. She's commentating. I mean, Vic Joseph was just embarrassed. Vic Joseph should be. What's that thing is when you have 3-year-olds and it's like a chair and you just put them and then you close it. She should be in a high chair because he was just getting. I didn't even pay attention to Vic Joseph. Vic Joseph was like white noise and Booker T and JC. Honestly, JC should just be on commentary now. Not all the time because she's the champion, but I think she's doing so great. I love all the success that's gone her way. She deserves it, just like a fat person deserves a glazed donut. I saw 600-pound life, and I just wanted to make that joke. But it was nonetheless, it was a really good match. I thought the two tag matches were fantastic. They were fun. It furthers the storyline. And look, Kendall Gray, she's great, but she's going to be gray and blue when it comes to New Year's Evil. And I feel sorry for you guys who believe that Kendall Gray has a chance. I see some of you guys in there, not Jeffrey. Jeffrey has respect for me, but George and Maurice. I don't know where EC has kind of turned the light a little bit. He has seen the light. He told me that today on how great she is. He gets it. So good job, JC. But Fatal Influence, they don't get the win, but that's okay. Even the 1996 Chicago Bulls didn't always get the win. The 2000 Yankees didn't always get the win. I mean, I've never lost in my life. I can't speak on this stuff, but not everyone can win all the time, and that's okay because we're going to rebuild and be better. And that's how it goes. And like Martell Jordan, this is how we do it. Now let's get into some of these comments here. I already know some people are going to be making some reckless comments here. We got Bad Chris in the chat. He says, "Do we have a clip of him going through the table?" He is not a fan of Javon, but I think I've told him before Javon's the future. EC, don't start. We know how you feel about Javon. We got Jeffrey. He says, "How does Soul pinning Bailey grant her?" Exactly. See, he gets it. Jeffrey, remind me later. It would be a swerve if Soul wins. I would be shocked by that. And I think that would send Zarya into madness if we're being honest. We got Expect Attacks. Thank you. We got Good Chris. He says, Ava is the general public, so she's doing anything she wants. I didn't know that's how life works. Okay. Chelsea Green pissed off Ava. Bad Chris says, no, seriously, I want to see if we can upload it. No, not on our show. Not on our show. Do that on the prediction show or whatever show that you do. Not here. Fatal Influence loss. I mean, but how many losses have you taken, George? You seem like someone who would lose at Connect 4 or Tic-Tac-Toe or Hopscotch. I don't even know if that's a game, but I still think so. Fallon Henley tapped out like John Cena. Well, I don't think she was smiling at that arm breaker, but okay. I think some people did not see him going through the table. He just keeps mentioning this damn table. Kendall Gray made Fallon Henley scream. I mean, if anybody's in an arm breaker, I would tap too. It's on YouTube. Kendall Gray is
Why
great.
would you tell him,
Jeffrey? Everyone needs to go and watch that clip. It's going viral. Ridiculous. I enjoyed JC on commentary. I know you did. You get it. LOL. Love Lainey stunner through. That was a good move. That was really good. It looked more like a cutter, but it was a stunner. So good job. I talked to my friend Stephanie Sapag, and he said Lainey doesn't fit in the faction. He's entitled to his opinion, but I feel like she definitely does. I think she definitely does, and I like the position for her because, it's a great place to be. And regardless if you like Fatal Influence, they get a lot of TV time, so I like that for her. Fallon Henley should be the NXT Women's Champion instead of Wow, good Chris has turned bad. We got two bad Chris's in. I guess it's the name. Vic should have been quiet and let JC and book. Thank you. Okay, everyone's agreeing with this. This guy, JC. Wow, I can't believe good Chris. He be saying how handsome I am. I don't think you lied to me. How annoying JC Jane is. We got to get Jack. JC doing great. Absolutely, the Chicago Bulls are a dynasty. Thank you for informing me of that. We got Maurice. He says, "Let's go, Kendall. I love you, Fallon. Fallon Henley's great. He apologized very much. He apologized. And Aldous should be able to do multiple things. I think that's pathetic that he's only stuck on these two and he doesn't realize what else is going on SmackDown. What else do we got here? I just wanted to make sure we caught up with the chat. What else do we have, Doc?
Well, we have Thea Hale being interviewed backstage. She is very happy. She says she has been crying for the past 25 minutes and is stoked to be champion.
Me too.
And Jordan does come up to her and congratulate her. But Thea seems to have figured it out faster than she did, which Thea did mention she came to NXT when she was 18. She's in her early 20s now, so been there for a little bit. Has finally won a title, a mid card title, mind you. Jordan has always been chasing the big gold, so. Mariah May Monroe. I only messed up because I'm reading from the blogs. Comes up crying about how she kicked out. There must have been some mistake. We need a new ref. And he's telling Thea, like a 5-year-old who is like if there were two 5-year-olds in kindergarten playing with the toy that one of them wants, the other one has it, and is playing with it at the moment. And she's like, I want my title back. It's like, Jordan tells her, go lick your wound somewhere else. This girl has been champion for half an hour and you can't let her have her moment. Go away. Mariah Monroe tells Thea to enjoy her new muscle muffin. And she looks confused for a bit because they're both muscular. But she hugs Jordan.
She does hug him. It's a wholesome moment until you see Jordan. She just like, you don't know what to do with this. I think I was saying it earlier in the show. It just seems like a character change for her. Talking about Jordan Grace, because even when she said, "Wow, you did it before me," and I don't know. I see what George is saying. What not was it George? Oh yeah, George. I'm sorry. He says, "Yeah, I can see Jordan Grace being added to us," and yeah, but her being added, I think a character change. I think a little bit of a heel turn, and maybe she doesn't do that, but it just seems because Jordan Grace, since being on NXT, I feel like she hasn't done a whole heck of a lot. Not a whole heck of a lot. I mean, she had that feud with Blake Monroe, and after that, what else? She hasn't won any championship, and it seems like she loses a lot. So I don't know if necessarily a character change is the way, but I think it would refreshen her a little bit. So I have to wait and see how this all turns about. But Thea needs to watch her back. Thea needs to watch her back, very much so. We got real quick. We got Jeffrey says muscle mommy. We got Marie says give me a hell yeah. You thought you were so clever. Hi there, guys. Happy holidays. Hey, happy holidays to you too, mighty guy. We got Marie saying Blake is going to go full on Mariah May. Without the blood, because I don't NXT don't really do all that. But yeah, I could see her going full crazy. Hi there, Wrestling Doll. Like your shirt tonight. That is he is a fan of your shirt. What is your shirt? Head back. Oh, that's Mia Yim. Okay.
Mia Yim.
All right, nice. Jordan needs a change or just call up if she's not going to win the championship. I mean, I can see her being called up. I can see her being called up, but I don't know. I think they will keep her in NXT for a little bit. Like I can see her being a call up somewhere after Mania, and not necessarily at a WrestleMania or call up, but somewhere after Mania. I think they would want to do a character change with her and see what they can do. I said we, I'm sorry, but what they could do with her. So yeah, she does need some kind of change because she just doesn't feel like just feel like she got lost in the shuffle, lost in the sauce, if you will. But I don't know. You want to take the floor again, man, madam?
Well, after that, we get Izzy Dame on the phone with somebody, and Nico is nowhere to be seen. And she finds a Sean Spears doll, and she hangs up the phone. It's like we're in The Conjuring with the Annabelle doll, except when you touch one of the things in the infamous room where the Warrens have stored everything that has caused misery in people's lives, bad things happened. Well, he touched the doll and he disappeared. That's what that reminded me of.
Oh, what's supposed to be like some kind of horror movie thing?
Yes. Have you never heard or watched any of the Conjuring movies?
Oh no, no, that sounded like that would creep me the hell out. So no, I didn't.
Well, it would, but I also follow a YouTube channel that talks, like, dives into the backstories of characters and such, or some of the things that are based on, like, real life stories,
Oh God, oh no.
which it gives me insight into the movies without having to necessarily watch the movies unless I want to.
Did you ever hear about this one movie? I don't know if like horror movies are your thing, but there's this horror movie and it actually creeps me out. Like it actually creeped me out. I think it's called like Annabelle or something like that. It's about a doll.
Yeah, that's the doll.
Yeah, but there's one where I guess it said it was supposed to be based off what was that doll called? Raggedy Ann or something like that. Anyway,
Yes.
I remember I saw this picture and it really
Yes,
creeped me
I
the
was
hell out.
literally just watching
Okay.
that video from that channel today, earlier
Okay.
this morning, talking
And,
about the backstory of Annabelle.
and did they tell you something about like she has a red light on her, but if you walk by her, she
Yes,
growls or something?
in
Yeah,
the
see that?
display case.
See, I see that. Ooh, that creeped me out. And stuff like
Well,
that don't
listen,
really
the
work for me.
Annabelle in the movie doesn't look like the Raggedy Ann doll because
No,
A,
I
that
was
doll is
different.
trademarked, so they
Right.
can't use it because it'll ruin the reputation of that doll. And B, the director of the movie said that that doll didn't seem creepy to it, so they wanted to change it into one that kind of looked like a porcelain or a ventriloquist doll, the kind that
Yeah, yeah,
you can
yeah, yeah.
walk past and think, did that thing just look at me or that thing just move?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know that they had the design was different, but I always remember seeing that particular picture of Raggedy Ann, the red light, and I just remember reading. And like I said, it said when you walk by, it growls. Like I don't think dolls should be growling. That's why
Well, that's because that doll is supposed to be like, well, it's
possessed,
supposed to
right?
be like possessed by something.
Well, I
But the
never
thing
wanted
is, them things that possess in that doll, it's supposed it want those are the ones that try to go after people. So
to see.
that's why they keep locked up, so it doesn't go into anybody.
I never want to see that damn movie. But carry on. I'm glad that you're breaking it down for everyone. So please continue to break it down.
So after that, we get we do see Lola talking to her and saying that she better watch her back if she hadn't done but if she had done what Izzy did to Tatum, I'd be scared. But Izzy's not
Hmm.
hearing it, saying it's none of her damn business, leave me alone, blah 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 blah. Meanwhile, Kaylani is unpacking her stuff into a cubicle, and Lola's like, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm reclaiming my spot back in this locker room. I am the greatest cross company talent that has been seen ever." And she basically talks about how she is the best, how her gymnastics helps. And Lola basically told her, "Girl," because Kaylana also say, "You're just jealous." And Lola's like, "Jealous of what? Jealous of what exactly? I'm not the one who lost my knockouts championship. I'm not the one who got pinned to lose my knockouts championship. And all this you got, and then you talk about your gymnastics don't got nothing on the MMA."
Oh, look like we got a little thing going on. What else do we have here?
So we have Shiloh Hill chatting with Skylar Raid, both winners of LFG, and they're talking about how NXT has been treating them. When Stax and Ariana come in and they're talking about what happened earlier, and they talk about Moose, mentioning how Moose has migrated down Ariana's like, "I thought I'd seen the last of them after leaving the Great North." And Shyla says, a moose in Florida is actually interesting because they don't usually come this far down south. And Dax basically asks them, are you stupid? Blah, 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 blah. And then they start being rude to them. And Shyla's like, well, first of all, you're being rude to us. And Stax basically challenges them to a mixed tag match next week.
Oh,
And then
sure.
we see Darcy going through and they give a pep talk to Dion before the match.
Let's talk about this main event.
We got Dion Lennox, Joe Hendry, Leon Slater, and Myles Bourne for the NXT Men's Championship number one contenders match since Javon, who was the Iron Survivor, took his shots and because of Ricky, was unable to get the belts.
Ricky!
You had some splaining to do, you explained it, and we was not happy, although some of us were not surprised.
There we go. I like that's the I Love Lucy reference. See, I know a thing or two about that.
I've
Well,
seen
well,
I've seen clips and they reference it sometimes on TV shows, so
it's a pretty iconic reference and stuff like that. So, yeah.
but this match was insanity. Like you were looking everywhere. I will say of everybody, I was not expecting the person to win who did. But thinking back when Moose said, I'm tired of an NXT talent having a TNA title, it's like thinking, what if a TNA star is the one that becomes the new number one contender for the belt? And that is exactly what happened. And you would also think that wasn't going to happen because Leon tweaked his right knee a bit during
Ooh.
one of the spots, and you
And that
can
looks
see him
gruesome.
holding onto his knee. And usually one of two things happens. They are so badly hurt that they had to get taken back only for them to run in and win, or they still do the match and they still wind up winning. And
Yeah.
this match, there was just so much happening. It was one of those moments where
Hmm.
when Joe Hendry got Myles and he was about to pin him, Dion pulled him out because we all know that Dark State has their thing with Joe Hendry for always coming out when his name was said. Nobody told you to say his name a million times, Cutler, but you did. And they start fighting out the ring, and Leon, bad knee and all, takes his chance and pins Myles for the 1, 2, 3. And of course, we have the spot where Leon is at the bottom, Joe and Myles are trying are are getting ready to lift Dion up, and they all come tumbling down.
This was fun. There was a lot of spots. It's hard to keep up with every little thing. That spot though, when he tweaked the knee, I actually thought he really hurt himself. It looked legit. Like I squealed. I said, "Ooh, that looked bad." I didn't have him winning, but I didn't have him win originally. But as time was going on, you start seeing like how Joe and Dion and they're kind of eliminating each other and canceling each other out. It was starting to kind of look like, hey, that would be. And there's something interesting about Leon Slater going against Femi. Now, I don't have Leon Slater beating Femi, but the match itself, I think, is going to be a fun one, and I look forward to seeing that. So when he gets to win, and you see Oba coming out bigger than ever, he's just big and strong. And then in the back, you see what Jeffrey's pointing. I mean, George is pointing out. My apologies, George. He's saying Tony was looking at Oba. Yeah, he was just looking at Oba. I love how I feel like no one was paying attention. All you saw is just green light just on Oba Tony, and I don't know. What is this gimmick change? Like he just drops paper on you, and I was trying to figure out like this. So he just litters on you. What are we doing here? But yeah, the main event was fun. I thought these gentlemen they had their working boots on. I agree with that, Jeffrey. The Swan Tom 450 is a fantastic move. It's a great move. Tony looked like Sting from the Rafters. No, he don't. I know the comparison, dude. I totally get it. Don't fight me. Uh, but absolutely not. He I don't even know what to compare him to. Tony hasn't spoken yet, so I guess you could kind of I guess you could say Sting. but not really. Tony's going for the NXT Championship. That's cool. I don't see him having the one being the one to beat uh, Ober. I don't think he's going to be the one. I know they're going to play into the fact that he's the only man to have pinned Ober twice, but no. Yeah, that's the only thing I could think. That's cool. I totally got what you was. I totally got what you was coming from, man. I totally. I see you. I see you, man. I see. I see you. Too soon. I couldn't help it. But I think that's everything. I think that's pretty much the show. We're going to be back
I
here next
mean,
week.
with that ending, but staring down Leon, and then Tony staring down Oba, who was staring down Leon.
Hmm.
We had quite an interesting way for the show to end. And I had no qualms. The show was good. I had nothing negative about it. There
Yeah.
weren't any matches that I was like, I don't have. I'm kind of bored. I don't want to keep watching.
NXT. I think
Everything kept me interested. So
NXT. Some shows are just more interesting than other, but they don't usually have bad showings. Like a lot of times they when they have a show and whatnot, you go like, oh, this is going to be a fun show. Um, we got George. He says Tony is definitely beating over. Okay, I disagree with you, sir, but okay, you got Tony going over. Maurice called him the Punisher. I like that. That's funny. Wild times we live in. Yes, indeed, we do live in wild times. One Mad Dog. Friday nights, Mad Dog. By the way, I know you miss us here on Tuesdays. You can admit that. But that's the show. I don't know if we have any kind of picture thing to plug shows, but do you want to plug shows? I mean, I know like we switched things around, but do you want to run the things down, or do you want me to take the flow
I
here?
still don't know fully the rundown of it. So I don't want to risk messing it up and saying the wrong thing.
One, Sabrina, still one round of applause for her because she did a fantastic job running down the show, and we hope that you were interested. Hey, you're watching this on YouTube. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification. It helps us out a lot. So thank you. Um, on Mondays, you have I don't know what the team name is, but we're just gonna say the Monday Night Raw crew. We have Willie Steaming Beaming and one DJ. Yeah, DJ. It is DJ. I was gonna just say Z, but you have Z. Check them out. But I do want to throw something out here real quick. I was stripped. No matter of fact, I was screwed out of the UPR Heavyweight Championship. We had polls for Saturday Night Main Event. I think I was correct because we didn't get a winner between Oba and Cody, but they said no, Cody won. So they didn't want me to hold the championship. And moving forward, I don't want that belt anymore. I will no longer go for that championship because I am constantly screwed. I'm tired of being screwed, and you do not screw Bad Guy Jack. That is terrible, but please check out those gentlemen on the Monday Night Raw review show right after Monday Night Raw goes off the air. Very talented individuals. Obviously, you can catch us on Tuesdays right after NXT go off the air. I'm here yelling and speaking, not speaking. I had speech. I could be better than that. Spitting gospel, saying some great things, being entertaining along with this lovely young lady, just killing it here on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, right after AEW go off the air, you have the All Elite Heat crew. You have one Cactus Katie. You have the Sheriff. Check them out when right after AEW Dynamite go off the air. I sometimes show up in the chat because you know the greatest faction of 2025 is the Don Callis family. I hope that you guys join the Don Callis family. And on Fridays, you have the Friday night crew of one Matt. I don't even know. I was gonna say Matthew McConaughey, James Kelly, but we'll just stick to Mad Dog Kelly and one Venomous Venny as they talk about all things SmackDown. Good luck to those gentlemen because SmackDown will be going to 3 hours in January. So hopefully they hope they're prepared for that. We got real quick here because this guy's always rude. He's always in my DMs because he's enjoying this. Tell Mr. Catberg I said hello. He doesn't have a last name. It's just Mr.
Well, we
His last
don't
name is
know
Cat.
who Mr. Catberg is, but
Thank
we
you.
have a Mr. Cat.
Yes,
So Bad Guy Jack, great grandson Pooba, will gladly tell Mr. Cat hello,
that's right.
but we don't know who this Mr. Catberg is.
I don't know. Yes, absolutely. I probably another cat. He probably is like someone's cat that we don't know. Right, Jeffrey. I'm glad that you mentioned that. We will play this commercial. Where is this damn commercial? I'm sorry. We have so much stuff here. We have things. Oh, here we go. We're gonna play this commercial. I mean, you hear us talk about it a lot, but WrestleMania tickets, they're pricey. And if you could go to WrestleMania, by all means go. I would never tell anyone don't go to WrestleMania. It's a great experience, it's a great time. But if you can't make WrestleMania, why don't you join us? We're going to go on a cruise that WrestleMania weekend. You get to see us in real life and how we are. I think it's a great time. You should join us. And if you have any questions, you can hit up anybody from Unpopular Review. We'll give you the information, and we hope to see you there for the Russell Cruise. And Matt says he missed Mr. K. I miss him too. I don't know where he's at. He's been gone these last few. I'm gonna go bother him now. So we said all the stuff. I feel like everything on UPR Entertainment, everyone's just been kind of taking a sabbatical a little bit because it's the holidays, but we plan on being back with some great content there. But Sabrina Estella, I'm sorry, it went right over my tongue here. You create content. Tell the people who is watching what you do.
Well, you may go look up my channel, The Unofficial Camera Woman, where I go throughout Central Florida and occasionally South to film wrestling content and put it on my channel. I did go to shows this past weekend, but they were already taped. They were already being filmed by people, and they were going to be put on TV or their own streaming services. So I got to take a little break in that sense, but always be on the lookout for whatever videos I have to put up on the interwebs.
I love that for you. Great stuff. So the plan for the Big Pop Theory podcast is we're supposed to record for Starcade 1998, and hopefully if we review it this week, we will have it up during the weekend, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. We're not going to do any audio this week. We took a break last week, and I know we're not doing one this Sunday because the plan is to go to, I'll say, both me and Shay's first AEW show. They're going to be out here in New York, and they have Collision, so we're going to be there for that taping. I only hope and pray that John Moxley's blood don't smack me in the face, because he bleeds a lot. But I'm very excited to be going to an AEW show. And I think that's everything. So continue to support everything on Popular Review, the Unofficial Camera Woman, the Big Pop Theory podcast. We appreciate you guys staying up with us. Tune in tomorrow. Well, I gotta look for the outro. At least we can play the outro. Let me just do this real quick. Yeah, there is an outro. Cool. I wanted to be sure we could find it. Let's get to the chat. Hope you see Mercedes take a picture for me. Yeah, she's on the card. Yeah, Mercedes dope. I got to see her. I seen her maybe once for WWE. I feel like it was that WrestleMania where we went to Texas. But the other time I saw her in action, she was at a HOG show and she killed it. She went against Indy Hartwell. It was a pretty fun match. But I forgot what I was going. Follow his days. Boom. Tomorrow, tune in for AEW All Elite Heat. Check those guys out right after Dynamite go off the air. We thank you guys for joining us. We always appreciate you guys. Continue to hit that like, subscribe, notification. If you are on Twitter, please retweet. And if we're still on Facebook, put in your favorite wrestling group chat. So we appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Be well, be safe, and if you're in a place where it is cold, stay warm.